Here we go. All right, we're live. Dialing in the sound. I feel like I want my voice a little bit louder, but make my voice louder, but don't make the music louder. Also, I hear a buzz. Do you guys hear a buzz? I can't tell if it's coming from my headphones or the microphone would really be the only two places the buzz would be coming from, I think. Probably the microphone cable. Anyway, let me know. Okay, make the microphone a little louder. Okay. All right, cool. So, oh wait, no, not that one. All right, now we'll get on with the inaugural video here as we're getting ready. Wow. What harmony? Sorry for soy face. I'm trying to make a screen capture to just tell Facebook that I'm live right now.
Devlale tu pranale tu piva i devla Hale tu pranale tu pida numa.
Hey Burnster. Good to see you.
Shaita vez tu barbalo nai tu pral tu sanchoro
Hey Birdie Wooster. Hey John K. Hey Ann. Happy spring. This is the same musician who was just playing the keyboard, I think. Who is still playing the keyboard. Hey Russ, yeah. I wish you had my weather too. It's my pleasure, Morgan. It's one of my favorite things to listen to. Is the Lautari music. So it's like a diminished 7 and then a diminished 7 of 5 and then a 5. So the groove kind of feels like it's bim, but like the 1 and the 2 or whatever, boom, bop, feels like it's like a fraction, deliberately a fraction, like a tiny beat, a tiny moment late every time. Do you guys hear that? Hey, Tom's accordion. All right. Welcome everybody to the accordion stream. Let's see, I'm now half in the sun and half out of the sun. These celestial bodies, you know what I'm saying? All right. That's pretty good. I could be a little bit more illuminated, but that's all right. All right, it's great to be back here again on Tuesday. I guess it's afternoon, unless you're in Hawaii. Then it's probably morning still. Happy to have you all here. That was, what we just heard was, I'll show you. That is this guy, Carmen Picculiata, I'm going to go with. This is my first attempt. And Carmen is, seems to be a keyboard player and like an arranger and producer and stuff is what I am picking up on. And I dig the sound. Like, I like this kind of like, I don't know what you would call this. Is this the smooth jazz of Lautari music? I don't know. Like, I feel bad because like I like this a lot more than smooth jazz. I don't even mean it like that. Like, smooth jazz is so often kind of an insult. So I don't mean it like that, but it's definitely like more kind of popped out. Or is it? I don't know. I guess it's not more popped out. It's just like more contemporary kind of sounds and grooves and stuff. Very fun though. I love the sound of it. And that seemed to be like, you know, something that all the musicians kind of, maybe they recorded at different studios and put their own tracks on. It kind of looks like that. That's really cool. And that had Yannicka Manuna, who's the, you know, kind of the greatest Romanian Lautari accordion player living, I think. So I think I know. Let's hear some more of things that I'm enjoying listening to. Do you guys like, who out there will, you know, find a song and you really enjoy it and then you just keep listening to it again and again? I'm definitely that way. Because it just brings me so much pleasure that I just want to keep, you know, I want to hear it again and again and again. Listen to more stuff in it. Okay, so is this the one I'm thinking of? I think it is. No, although that's really cool. That one is really cool, but no, it's not. That's him playing minor swing. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Do I have the... Oh, we'll find it here. Hora, La, and here. There we go. This is the one we want, folks. And we've listened to this before on the stream. So this is Marian Mexicano, whose playing I also really enjoy. And his projects, how he arranges stuff, and he makes like very memorable, catchy tunes. Yeah, John and Ann in the chat say that they'll listen to stuff over and over and over again. Yeah. Yeah. So cool. It's interesting too to like to hear how he orchestrates it, like the accordion player, he composed that song. Um and it's interesting to hear like where he's having the strings and stuff come in, like what parts double. And it's this, if I'm just like to think about it, just to talk about what I like about it, I think I love the harmonies, and it's a lot of jazz sounds and jazz chord shapes, and it swings, which I love, and it swings in a really in a way that's similar to trad jazz or Django music, in a really like four on the floor kind of way, which I really enjoy a lot. And it has walking bass, and that tune I like. There's like so many parts of it that are like these really groovy, super grooving, like little repetitive things that are fun. It's fun to hear them like loop it, and then they'll move to like other stuff, and just everything about it grooves like, and it's like it's the playing, and it's also, to me, it's like the harmony is a really big part of that groove. The way everything is like, stuff usually change. Well, there's all kinds of really cool syncopated upbeats and all kinds of complex hits, but aside from the connecting chords and the sort of ornamentation of the chords, like the chords are changing, in this way that that really establishes a rhythm. The harmonic rhythm is very, very strong in this music, and the kind of stuff I gravitate to is the stuff where the harmonic rhythm is moving a lot, very active. Okay, so now we're gonna watch the same tune, but by a clarinet player playing it, and the clarinet player, he has the same last name. He's Romeo, Mexicanus. I don't know if he's his son. I do not know. but I'm assuming he's related because if he's not his son, is some other relationship, because there's a lot of videos on Romeo's channel of him with Marian Mexicano. It looks like they perform together a bunch. And so this is just great. So it's the same song that you just heard, not quite as long. Less than a minute. And I'm pretty sure that's exactly the same lick that Marian Mexicano is playing. And all his ornaments and everything exactly the same. It's so cool. And when I'm listening to this, I feel like it's easier for me to pick out the ornamentation. Maybe because he's like so clear, whereas Marian's stuff that I like to listen to is so it's produced and mixed. Whereas the clarinet player is sticking out. But there's a very poor job of singing that. I'm not hitting it at all. But there's an ornament at the end when the like at the end of the phrase that I clearly pick up now when I'm listening to this. That. Pardon me. I did just download TikTok again. I've never really been on it. Anyway, isn't that so cool? Part 1, so that means there's a part 2. All right, cool. So, oh yeah, okay. All right, so there's also a cool video on that I found on the Open Studio Jazz Piano guys talking about the Suzuki method, and they expound on it in a, well, one of the guys has a lot of experience, Peter Martin, and so we'll watch that. That's cool, and I think uplifting. What else? I wanted to talk about practicing groove and stuff. Yeah, okay. I'll talk about what I've been working on. Oh, I know. Here, I'll show my progress on my singing. I did not get as much singing done because I had, like, all of a sudden this weekend was like the weekend where everybody came and visited me, which was awesome. But it was a lot of people, and I had like a couple friends staying over, so it was just, I didn't have my normal kind of hermitage weekend that I had been having since I've been here. Okay, so I'll show you the rule of the octave. Yeah, we'll start there. Okay, do I have dates? That was yesterday, okay. Alright, so it looks like I have 2 projects. Let me close this one. There's no way to just choose the entire... Oh, desktop, yeah. Let's see if that works. Oh no, it doesn't work. Wait, let me try it here. Chrome browser. Desktop. No, that doesn't work. Okay. Alright, sorry guys. Four-part singing. Where is it? 4-voice singing. Here we go. Okay. Alright. Yeah. Okay, so when was the last... What was the date of the last live stream? I gotta look here to see. Because I started having this problem where, like, 2 days in a row, I was, like, really into it. I, like, lost myself in the singing for hours. And then I'm, like, redoing parts and stuff and making little exercises. And then, like, I kind of look back because I'm zoomed into just the part of to just seeing, the timeline or whatever you call it, the song, as just the little part that I'm working on. So I zoom out and I realize, this happened to me on 2 different occasions, that I had somehow deleted, like, in one case it was all of the second voice from the bottom, and that was gone. So then I had to undo, like, all of the work that I had done, and just and then yeah, so I just don't have that. And then the second time it was 2 voices. Anyway, that's annoying. Okay, so here's what I can play. I mean, I can play a bunch of stuff, but here, I made this last night. Well, here, first I'll show this one. Let's see. Hang on. Where is that? Okay, sorry guys. Dead air. Bad. Okay. Is that it? Yeah, okay. No. I'm all over the place, guys. Sorry. Okay, yeah. So you've heard this one. I made this one last week.
Next full moon is on the 25th. Next full moon is on the 25th.
That was a good one. So I just did it to put lyrics to it because I was finding that it's really hard to sing exactly on time with myself because I was doing the different syllables for the... Anyways, I just wanted to unify it by all 4 voices saying the same thing. So I made that. And of course, last night was the 25th. So I made this yesterday. Where is it? It's right here. So I made this yesterday.
Tonight the moon is full, 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 tonight the moon is full.
So, as you can hear, there are some things that are improving, which is cool and fun. So this is me singing the rule of the octave, which is a formula for harmonizing the major scale in 4 parts from the 1700s, maybe earlier, I don't know. And the scale, well, it doesn't have to be, like the first one I played is obviously the minor scale, and it's the what is it, the melodic minor? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, re, mi, fa. Ba ba dee ba 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 bee bum ba ba bum. Those are the naturals. So natural 6, natural 7, and to the 1, and then on the 1, on the descending, dum da dee dum. You flat it descending. So in the key of C, C, B flat, A flat, G, F, E flat, D, C. So that's the scale that you use for that, for the minor one, and the major one is just the major scale in the lowest voice, and then the other voices just tend to move. The top voice has no skips. Yeah, the second, I guess you'd call it the alto. No, the tenor voice has some skips, and the tenor voice is the hardest to sing. And I'm discovering that what was I listening to? I was listening to the Nikhil Hogan show, and he was talking about thirds and how, like, why weren't thirds used in, like, chant in pre-Baroque, what do they call it? Tertiary harmony. The harmony in second thirds. And I'm finding that singing thirds and harmonizing is harder. It's a lot harder to do. It's so much easier to sing a fourth or a fifth and find that like laser lock-in intonation spot, and it's hard. There's stuff that I don't know. You know, it's like when you work on anything, you just start seeing more and more stuff. And so one of the biggest, I guess the biggest thing that I'm finding is I do not have any experience listening to my voice, and that's what I have to do when I make these. So let's see. I'll go to something else. I just need to open the Logic project, the correct one. Close that. Yeah, I'll open this other project that so I started taking a course called the Partimento Method from Richardis Cochlearius, who's the Italian guy that we've seen on the live stream before a couple weeks ago. And it's cool, and I'm going really slow because he makes these really cool lecture videos at the beginning. So I'm in like, I think he calls it chapter 1, and it's fundamentals of music. So it's stuff that I think I know ostensibly, like the circle of fifths. Okay, I know, and scales. Okay, I know scales, but I don't, because he is showing how we're singing hexachordal scales, not septichordal scales. So it's not do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, or ti, do. It's not a 7-note scale. It's 2 6-note scales, or more, actually, in practice, and you swap. So it's do, re, mi, fa, sol, la would be one scale. That takes us up to the A, the 6th step, if assuming we're in the key of C. Sorry, perfect pitch people. So that's the 5th step. There's the 1st step. There's the 5th step. So the other hexachord scale starts on the 5th. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, sol. So when you're singing it, a lot of times he marks it so you're singing do, re, mi, fa, sol, right? And that G, if I'm singing in key of C, so let's say, is the 5th step to the scale, and that could either be the 5th step of the 1st hexachord, or it could be the 1st step of the 2nd hexachord. So you could sing it as 2 4-note scales. Do, re, mi, fa, do, re, mi, fa. And that has an extraordinary power of comprehension, because if we get rid of the math of it and go like, well, technically, and it's just serving a different function, and the gravity, it's like the sound is equal. Those frequencies are equal. They're exactly the same intervals. Do, re, mi, fa, mi, fa. There's a half step there. And then do, re, mi, fa. The screwy thing is that then you're singing do at the bottom of the scale, and fa, a different syllable, which like to my brain still means the 4th step of the scale, but you're singing at the octave. So it's very like it's, at least in major it works well. In minor, honestly, it starts to break, or it's more complex and I don't understand it. But the other thing that he talks about these hexachordal scales is that they come from the Renaissance period, where there's these different modes, and the first mode, I think, like we would call Dorian, essentially. And he's showing these examples. I'm just kind of absorbing it. There's so much to learn, and so I just have like, it's like a huge quilt, and I have like a little square over here and a little, on up. So take whatever I say for granted, but I'm enthusiastic. It's really fascinating. So he's talking about how, like, they were thinking of like, how many modes is it? Is it 4 modes and 2 are the same? I think that's what it is. 6 modes, but like two of them are repeats, just in a different part of the scale. And it's a different way of thinking. So that's fascinating. So there's a lot to learn there, even going slow. And so then the part I'm on, so the other thing is I'm trying to go really slow and sing all this stuff, because if I can sing it, then I can hear it, then I can bring it up to recall. And I think also, like, where this is all headed is that I can improvise contrapuntal stuff, counterpoint, so multiple melodies happening, and I have not been good at that. And I feel like the way to get good at it is to be able to, like, really, like, I don't want to just do it mechanically, I want to really, like, hear multiple things in my head. So what I'm trying to do is just start by just singing these shapes, I guess you could call it, let's see. Okay, so what's this one? Okay, yeah, all right. So then this is something that's not, it's just in his chapter of trying to get the right browser here. This is not even something that you're supposed to be like working on playing, but why don't I see Logic? That's weird. Why do I not see Logic? There's Google Chrome. It's weird. It's not letting me. It's not showing me Logic now. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. Okay, so this is the next thing that I'm like sort of assigned to sing, although I'm going my own way through his stuff. Like I don't think we're supposed to be like working on performing stuff until the second chapter, but whatever. I'm doing this. So there's 3 parts, and it's a more complex thing because it modulates to the 5, the key of the 5. So I'm starting singing in C, 3 voices that are very, very sort of Renaissance, and then it ends in the key of G. And that's been hard to modulate in the bass voice because here's the bass voice. Let's see if I can sing it. Do, re. So it's going to be ba 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 boo bum bum be doo dum. Bum be da dee dum. See that note that I'm pointing at? Dee dum. That's the F sharp that brings us into the key of G. And I'm fine to that part, except for after this G. So I'll say the note names. C, D, E, C, F, G, A, F, G, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Then I have to sing down to the 4, which I cannot pull up yet. Because when I sing down, I want to hit the 5th. Bum, ba, but it's not. It's ba, bum, ba, ba, bum, ba. And that's so low. But if I get close to the microphone, it works. So that's the melody of that part. And then there's 2 other parts. So there's da ba. There's the middle voice, which goes dum dum dee da dee da dee da ba bum ba be da dum. And my breathing interrupts the phrasing and stuff. But that's that part. And then the top part, the third, there's only 3 parts, not 4. It's da dee da dee do da da ba dee dee da. And it ends on the 3rd. And then going into the G major, ba dee. Let's see. Da dee dee da dee dee da. That's it. Da. Let's see if I can do the whole thing. Da dee da dee do. Oh, it keeps going. Dum dee da dee do da dum ba dee dee dum. Dum dee dee da dee dee dum. That's it. Okay, so I have it memorized. I would like it if there was a video saying, Dallas, I'm going to sing this melody, and like maybe write it down for comprehension, but like there's no sheet music to read, you know. That's really what I want. But I haven't found that person yet. Okay, so here are those 3 parts together. When I think this is when I started, on the 23rd, which is 3 days ago, I guess. It feels like a lot longer. Do, re, mi, do, la, sol, la, fa, sol, fa, mi, do, re, mi, fa, re, sol, fa, mi. Yeah, some stuff is okay, some stuff is not. All right, let's go to the next day that I have marked, the 24th. Let's see how it sounds. Let me go to kind of the end of my work here on the 24th. That's better. It's getting better. And then yesterday's, looks like I just have 1 for yesterday. The innies, I will, once I'm warmed up, then I will re-record parts. So I usually start with the bass part, and then depending on what I'm singing, I sing a different part. A lot of times when I'm singing the 4-part stuff, I like singing the part that has the 5th in it, because it seems to lock in the easiest to get in tune. And then bringing the voice that has a 3rd in is a lot easier when I already have that in tune 5th. And I noticed just my low register, although I can go there, it's not super accurate. That's kind of I feel like I'm struggling the most with that one. Anyways, so here's the one from yesterday. So yeah, more in intonation is more accurate and more confident, you know, because I learn, you know, start to get a sense of what the melody wants to do and stuff. I'm starting to see how I should start to care a little bit about the performance, because that will help the music, if that makes sense. Trying to breathe and find phrase points where, if you've, you know, listening to my singing the scale, I haven't defined all that, you know. It was just like, get your voice moving, try to hit the note at the right time and get it in tune. And I'm not thinking about making music out of it. Although Tonight the Moon is Full was interesting. That was a little brain puzzle, because I've done stuff like that on the accordion where I changed the rhythm. But on this one, it's, you know, it's just, since it's all in my head and it's with my voice, it's just I don't know, it feels like you're, you know, making a new kind of mental blueprint or something. Anyway, very interesting. So yeah, all right. Well, that's that, and I'll come to talking about groove and stuff later. Let's see. I don't know. Let's hear some music, huh? We did Lautari, Lautari. What else should we do? Before we get to the to that cool thing on Suzuki method, I want to just listen to a couple tunes. Okay. All right. Wow. Oh. Okay. All right, internet. It can be like that. Okay. All right. Here's an accordion posted by Potosa. 6th diminished scale. I want a performance. Let's see. All right, here, let's check out Lupe Sainz. It's not you guys, the audio is not so strong. Cool. It's a little kind of Zydeco touch, kind of. Cool.
con mis sentimientos. Estabas muy mal porque me fui hallando algo muy perfecto. Todas tus señas fueron demasiado fuertes. Mi mundo cambiado, pero sigo poco si posible. Tanto amor, hazlo mejor. Ofrécele todo que quieras de hoy. Hazlo feliz, hazlo creer que toda tu vida está ligada con él. Sabes ganarte todo lo que quieras, como lo deseo. Tienes poder para llevarlo sobre todas las estrellas. Sabes jugar con sentimientos nuevos, eres de la buena. Toma su mundo, entregas todo lo que como buen deseo. Dale tu amor, dale lo peor de ti.
All right, cool. Let's listen to some more stuff. So that, just to kind of connect things, or to talk a little bit more about like what do I hear there. Not that it matters, but that there's like 3 chords and a little walk up. But the groove is so good, there's all kinds of like the timing of the playing of the accordion was perfect, super in the pocket, and then when he did add extra stuff, it made it feel better, it made it groove more, and like lots of different articulations and things that were louder and more accented, stuff like that. A lot of maybe diatonic notes, but tons of musicianship there. Groove. Let's see. Here's Milagros, who's Jamie Mashler first told me about her. I think they might have met her down in let's see. Oh yeah, we're on it. Okay. Down in Brazil. And yeah. So Milagros is a bandoneon player. I think Milagros is Brazilian. Cool. Yeah. How pleasant. That looked like she was on a breaker or like I don't know, on the ocean or something. Body of water. That's so cool. Okay. So I want to talk about my adventures on the Stradella accordion this week. Oh boy. Don't disconnect that. Okay, give me a minute here. Sonola. Yeah. So it's fun. It's fun to watch, you know. I made a little clip out of the jazz 15 minutes or whatever that I did last time. And it kind of inspired me. I was like, well, why don't you play the Frank Morocco, you know, quarter notes? And then I was like, well, I can't. It's hard. I can't do it. So I've been working on various stuff, which is the quarter notes, but also... How's that? Is that too loud in the... You gotta look. Yeah, okay. All right. And like I said in a previous live stream, since I came back, you know, after the 5 months break of not touching the accordion, I'm doing a lot more of putting gentle pressure here on the front folds of the bellows. So as I open, I'm doing that. I don't know. I'm probably going to show Jack and Natalie and they'll be like, don't do that. That's wrong. But it's working for me. And I'm pulling down onto my leg. But a lot... So I'm not warmed up either. And the other thing that I'm trying to do is I'm trying to build, like, I know this sounds really dramatic. I'm just trying to find the movement in terms of relaxation, which really means kind of starting from zero again. Because I find that I just hold all this unnecessary tension in my body, and I don't want to do that. And I think that's getting in the way of grooving and just playing. I think that's the place to play from, you know, for technique and connection. And ooh, that's loud. It's gonna be too loud for you guys. Sounds good though. I'm not warmed up. I don't have a melody here or the really right chords. It originally went, I don't know. Here's A. So it's like a ripoff of Joshua Fought the Battle of Jericho, but it gets me kind of trying to play a swing feel and slightly influenced, not informed, but influenced by the all the Lautare stuff that I watch, and just trying to hold that pocket. And I'm really fascinated with this comping pattern, which is based on let's see, it's that same thing. It's just a little bit different. And then I have to go to G minor. Not very good. Okay. practice song that I'm working on to to get all those things. So to play a repeated thing, you got to really you can't build up tension, which is hard because the accordion requires so much constant strength in the left arm. Can't build up tension, or as you do, you have to find ways to relax it. You have to really have great control of the bellows. These ones are a little leaky, but I mean, if I blamed it on that would be a lie. It's my technique. And what else? And you have to stay connected, stay really deeply connected, in the body. So the slower I go, and my primary thing, I'm trying to groove. I'm trying to make it so it feels really in the pocket. So I'll do little exercises for my left hand, and I don't feel warmed up yet. In this staying relaxed, especially in my shoulders. My shoulders do not feel relaxed. I made these straps a little bit longer today too to help that. But so a way that I'm practicing as I'm going through is, and I can't do this at any faster tempo, but I figured this. Because then I'm measuring the closest space to the next bass note. So right? So that gives me better accuracy for where the bass note should be, hopefully. So I'll practice with the melody like that. I gotta move this away. Yeah, and I'm trying to hit the pocket and stay relaxed. Again, is what I'm doing, and it feels it feels like baby. You know what I mean? It feels like there's no weakness, cause now I'll play with tension. I don't know. I'm just not connected with it. It feels like this feeling. It's always like a plate that's about to fall out of my hand with stuff on it. It's I don't feel connected, and I think that's what I'm looking for in the trying to relax and find the pocket, is to really feel deeply connected to that groove in a really relaxed way. So that way it's easy. I'm playing from point of easiness. So that's an exercise that I'll do, and then I'll also do the bass notes, which is way harder than I thought it would be. So just chick. And I should use the right fingers. Let's see. It would be 4-3. So, but with the melody. And when I do that, I can, of course, line up the two hands, but I can also see how my melody. Ben Flaw told me this. So, my first competition when I was just starting the accordion, she's like, "You gotta get in there. You can't be afraid in the left hand." And that's what I'm thinking a lot about now. I was like, yeah, there's some sort of weird anxiety of the left hand. And I'm just trying to let it go, Check. And now I'll do the chords. See, and what I'm trying to do is play in the pocket and play relax. So the pocket for me comes from relaxing and It comes from movement. I think that, to me, rhythm in music is the same as movement in dance. And so that's where I find it, and it feels the best, and it's the easiest. Cool. I got a message from Michael the accordionist saying that he's looking forward to seeing me at cinema. Yeah, I can't wait to see you either. Michael, if you're still watching and can type, have you decided what piece you're going to play at cinema? Because I have not, and I better start going on it. I need to pick by April. And even then, that won't be enough time. And anything good, I think, is not yet. Okay, he hasn't decided yet. You probably have a short list, though, maybe. So trying to play, I'm finding that on this accordion, it'll be interesting to return to my other accordions, but on this accordion, for the right-hand side, bringing this forward and down, really, it creates this, like, pretty easy. There's a little, it creates some pressure on the wrist, but nothing awful. Yeah, so anyway, so the chords there. Or I'll do the doubled chords. Ah. 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 Yeah, see, that's wild. I can't even do it. Let me try that again. Yeah. It's I think the groove is there. The groove is, it's an internal thing, like I've said before, which is not my idea, but it's shared with me, and I think it's true. The groove is in sounds so cheesy, inside of you. It is. It's not. Matching an external groove is only possible once you have an internal groove. And that's what I'm working to find on the accordion. I want to groove. So then the other thing I've been working on is this Macedonian tune that I learned from Adrian Chevalier when I was playing with his band before I left New York for the pandemic. I don't think it's a traditional tune. I think it is a song written in with a traditional sort of style, written by the band. Oh man, what are they called? The Amsterdam Klezmer Orchestra, and we've listened to this song on the channel before. It's probably too loud. Next section. So in that stuff, I'm really I'm relaxing. Let's see. Like it really does. I can't talk and play that song. I can barely play that song, but I'm relaxing and groovy, getting out of it. I'm not really sure. And then I'm just trying to work just this one ornament. Let's see. Not very good. Okay, I'm playing it too fast, and it's on the road anyway. So that's what I'm doing. And then having fun with this. See if I can do it. Sorry, this is new practice. Yeah, it's too unreal. I think I worked on it yesterday or the day before, and I haven't touched it enough, so I'm not gonna pain you guys. But yeah, I did have it going, and I could slow, and obviously not internalized yet, but I would do that with where is it? To the E. See, now I'm thinking the machino. Sorry, I told you I wasn't gonna work it out. Anyways, that's fun. That's really fun to do, and I feel like that brings a whole nother life into my left hand of, trying to play that. And even the other I didn't like that. That should be shorter. Yeah, but try to get it to talk, just my left hand, just like my right hand, and it's a cool sound, and then trying to do stuff hands together too. It's been fun to get back to this. I was practicing How High the Moon after I was inspired to try to get the 4 on the floor thing going. It's hard, but I was like, yeah, this is so cool, and it works for Frank. And then watching more Frank, he does that for a little bit, and then he goes back to, then he puts some cool connecting chords or some other stuff where his left hand's like an extension of his right hand and stuff like that. But yeah, that's what I've been working a lot on the accordion, or on the Stradella, and then I've been working on the freebass accordion also. But I'm gonna save the freebass accordion for next week because I probably won't have this accordion for the next live stream. How warm can I make it? Like with the arm, so not a crazy stiff arm, but not a weak, leaking arm. And then with my touch. It's hard. That's what I was doing also with the rule of the octave on this instrument. Trying to get a warm sound, so pull, like breathe in the cinema style. Let's say I gotta ascend in the left hand. I don't hear the top voice. Da da dee da dee da. It's glorious. It's really nice. And so there I'm I'm trying to play on the surface, And like sometimes it's so on the surface it's not even on the surface, like that top pinky. And do that again, but do that relaxed, huh? Well, let's do another key, E flat. Black notes it's harder. This shape, this is a good shape. This is the Deschamps hand shape. It's a good one for chords. Let me do the other. Let me do the clarinet. No, that's too low, isn't it? 5. Sorry. There we go. Sorry, guys. It's just a major scale on the left hand. Why am I messing up? Because I'm thinking about all the other stuff. Man, can I get all those voices to play at once? And no. But listening close and feeling the air. And this thing with the bellows on the front has been really great. And then I'm just trying to shred also, just to will I be able to? That's horrible. Horrible because I'm trying to go too fast without being warmed up. And that's it's okay to play. It's okay to play horrible. It's just like really like that feeling of I'm not together at all. I should start a lot slower and kind of warm up to that tempo. But just playing fast and letting my finger. It's almost like, you know, an athletic exercise, which is really important. It's really important. I think that these kind of exercises are really important to do for every musician, especially if you play the kind of music that you are creating your own arrangements, or, you know, spontaneously able to accompany yourself or other people, which I think that's where we should all be. And we can read sheet music too, but we should be adding all this extra stuff to the sheet music that we play, if we do. But like the opinion that I have is like Hanon is great if the music that you're playing sounds like Hanon. So the idea of moving the fingers like this is great, but in order to practice Hanon, you have to like fall in love with that melody, you know, or at least treat it with, you know, such respect that you find the music in it, you know. And I think like I don't think there's any opportunity cost to being creative and say, okay, well, what's the kind of music that I actually make in my life, and what are some ways to get my whole hand moving through it, right, in sequence or somewhere nice, but it sounds like the music that I make, you know, it's based on this song that I'm working on in this key or whatever, you know. And so that's the only thing that I suggest, is that the tools that you use to practice to work on music will also work back on you. So if you spend too much time with Hanon, that's going to be in your brain. Hanon is going to be in your brain, and it's very likely that Hanon doesn't look like the music that you're playing. Is my thesis here. So make a Hanon that looks like the music that you're playing. It's way more fun. just the wind, I think. Probably not an animal. Okay, cool. Let's see. I'm just looking at the chat here. Cool. All right. What else? Oh, okay. Now it's probably a good time for Now it's probably a good time to check out that video on the Suzuki method. That was really cool. Okay. Let's go here to history. There it is. Okay.
A higher fight or flight response as they're born, when they're born.
Okay. So this is a long video, although we don't need the intro. They're doing a nice piano duet to open.
Back. Find out. We're about to find out.
What's
Peter,
up, man?
Hey, let's do an episode to people's experience with musical beginnings and maybe how you might nurture a young musician that you know. Could be your child, could be your niece or nephew, or your grandchild even.
Your pet?
Maybe
not. Okay.
That's weird. But no, it could be someone you know who is just...
Does anybody out there watching have experience with the Suzuki method?
Starting to learn music. And I thought we could talk about this. We had a great voicemail from Simon, and maybe we can hear Simon's thoughts on this.
Hi, Peter. Hi, Adam. This is Simon from London, approaching 4 years as an Open Studio member. For a few years, I've wanted to hear Peter's thoughts on a specific teaching method, but surprisingly, no detail has really ever been spilled. And what I'm talking about is the Suzuki method. I know, Peter, that you were taught this method from an early age on violin. And in fact, two of my favorite modern day jazz players were taught in this way. You and, of course, Emmett Cohen. And you did once mention Nurtured by Love, which I read and found really fascinating. And I wondered if you could spend some time discussing your experiences and how it helped you.
Okay, so they're going to talk about this book, Nurtured in Love, which is about the Suzuki. I guess it's it's written by Shinichi Suzuki, who is the creator of the Suzuki method. And it sounds like it's a really cool book. And I'll let them speak for themselves, but I'm only just kind of getting ahead of it just in case, like, this might be a nice candidate for our next book club. I think it seems like very holistic, for lack of a better phrase, for us.
You become the player you are, and also, how we can all use this teaching to help us and our kids to grow musically and become better piano players. And, I feel that you already apply some of this technique in your jazz piano method lessons, but as I said, it rarely gets mentioned, and it almost gives it this mythical quality. And by asking this, please tell me if I'm completely missing the point, but really looking forward to hearing you do a deep dive on this subject. Many thanks, and please come to London soon for You'll Hear It Live.
Hey,
we'll even pay for a ticket. Thanks a lot.
Oh, okay.
Bye.
We do have our You'll Hear It Live.
Will they pay for
up.
our plane tickets? What do you mean? That's gonna be our biggest barrier there.
We do have You'll Hear It Live, Peter, coming up on April 12th, which is sold out, by the way.
Sold out.
Yeah, there's no more seats left.
There are no seats left.
Yeah.
It's interesting though, because that's like the third person from the UK that I've heard from this.
We gotta
week.
go.
We were just talking about that this morning, but similar accent but different voice.
Okay.
I think it's such a part of me that there's almost no part, like it would be hard for me to detach not only me as a musician, but just me as like a parent, even as a spouse, as a family member. Like the Suzuki method is so thoroughly ingrained in me that I may not even be the most, from my own experience, the most authoritative to speak about it. I wouldn't be, because when you're kind of inside of something, it's very hard to describe.
Yeah, you're not, I wouldn't say hesitant to talk about this, but it's like almost one of these things where whenever this subject gets brought up, you're like, well, I just don't even know what to really say about it, because I think it is so, it's like talking about like Well, tell me about your hearing. You know, it's like my hearing is just my hearing. Like
Right.
it's like such a part of your being that it's kind of,
Yep.
I think, difficult. It seems difficult as someone who knows you really well. It seems difficult for you to describe. But maybe, Peter, if you could just give a brief personal history with your relationship to Suzuki and how, you know, that journey for you. I know your mother was an early adopter of the method here in the United States.
Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of my what I realized, a lot of my knowledge about this that is probably more helpful to others is from my own kids doing it.
Oh yeah.
You know, all my kids at one point went through the Suzuki method. So from that standpoint, as a parent, I actually am a little more conscious of kind of how this works. But I mean, it's just to say that I came up learning music very much within this method on violin and piano also. Although I wasn't as strict within the method on piano. When I started piano a little bit later, I was my teacher, who was a friend of my mom's, who lived around the corner from us in Florida, taught me with like some of these other methods, and I did learn to read a little bit earlier, possibly on that. But yeah, in terms of like what the Suzuki method is, and I'm not an expert on this, but I've been around a lot. I would tell you that the kind of cornerstone of it that I think is very important, and certainly potentially the most applicable to jazz or different styles of music beyond classical, because it's very much based upon the Western European classical repertoire in terms of the pieces that are learned. But it's I think what really marks it and makes it distinctive is that you're learning by ear from a very young age.
Yeah.
Like there's no assumption that it's too early.
That's the big difference between that and other like Western style
Right.
music instruction, where you learn to read like right off the bat.
Right.
In
So
kindergarten.
Right, exactly. And so what the assumption of that is that you can't learn to play an instrument until you're able to sort of intellectualize and read notation on the page, or you have to do that at the same time. So the Suzuki method decouples those two things and says, what is our most natural and instinctual connection with music?
Yeah.
And that is, and as Shinichi Suzuki, who is the originator of the method, who it's named after, who was a Japanese violinist, that my mother actually studied with back in the 70s. There's kind of a pilgrimage that a lot of American and from all over the world teachers went to learn from him when he was still alive. I believe he died sometime in the late 80s or something. I mean, he was very old when my mom went to study with him, but super vibrant. Yeah. But he created this, and certainly he had a lot of influences, and Nurtured by Love, which is kind of his thesis on this, his book, which I highly recommend. I kind of read.
Yeah, another, like, you know, elder statesman, educator, musician. Their vibe is, you know, music as a language and love. I like it. I don't want to make this a patriarchy. Is what I'm thinking of too, but anyways, yeah, third, kind of vibrant into their old age music educator.
Read it as later on as a parent, so it was very instructional, not just for teaching music to your kids, but just teaching art, teaching life, teaching humanity, like, and the concepts of nature versus nurture versus nature, which are probably above the pay grade of this podcast for us to get too deep into that. But in terms of music, like, that's what was really ingrained in me. And so that seeped into many parts of my life as a parent, as a coach, as an uncle, and all these different types of things. And that's just the concept that Suzuki promoted, which is, it's not about the talent that you're born with. It's about the talent that is the artistic talent that is nurtured in you from a very young age by your parents. As a language. In other words, everybody can learn to speak their mother tongue, as he calls it. And that is the language you hear normally from your parents, your mother, your father, your grandmother, your caretaker, whoever it is that you're around. How you learn to speak your number one language, in my case, English. Mm-hmm. As you can tell, I am quite eloquent at the English language.
Obviously.
Been speaking it my whole life, to tell you the truth.
You don't have to caveat that. Everybody knows.
But the idea is that we're taking the same concepts of how you learn, like at its most core, like first principles level. Like how did you learn how to speak English? Do you remember?
I have no idea.
Right. Yeah. But maybe you've heard, like maybe you learned it from your mother, perhaps your father. Who were you hanging around when?
I was hanging out with mom and dad.
Mom and dad, probably more mom than dad.
Probably at first, a little more mom and dad. And
right.
Yeah, just learning to speak, and grandma. Grandma was around too. My whole family lived on the same street when I grew up. So my aunts, my grandma.
Right.
Grandpa lived on the same street.
So perchance, do you speak with a similar accent to some of them?
I do occasionally say Washington Avenue. Yeah.
Right.
Which is a very thick St. Louis accent. Yeah, but I do. Yeah. And so just listening to people around you, of course.
But I think that the concept of nurtured by love is that you learn the language from the ones that you love. So when you're like a baby, not even a toddler yet, you're an infant.
Yeah.
And there's obviously you have a bond with your mother and maybe beyond that.
And so they're the ones that teach you this
They're
language.
the ones who teach. So you trust them implicitly for everything because that's all that you know. Like you don't even know it. It's not to be trust or a lack of love. You learn that later in life,
Yeah.
So you're imitating though. So like that's the base level. So the Suzuki method is about imitating music as a sound. But how do you get it any closer to the origins than imitating your parent? So the strict Suzuki method, I shouldn't say strict, the OG manifestation of is that the parent learns first. So this was really exciting for me, and like because my mother was a violinist and is a violinist and a teacher.
Yeah.
Of course that was easy, but like I went through this with my kids. My wife learned because I already knew how to do it, and she really wanted to do it, and I was traveling a lot anyway.
Yeah, so Kelly
she learned
some violin.
She learned before they did, and then they're watching her learn.
That's great.
It's such a great way, like to make that connection, and then of course
that's so cool.
So something similar happened in my family. I didn't learn Suzuki method, but there was a local piano teacher here in this area named Gretchen, and I believe, I don't know the order of things, but my parents both took some piano lessons from her when they were like, when we were really young. So they would have been, I don't know, in their 30s, I guess. And my sister took piano lessons from this teacher. And I do remember like that did, I did soak that up, and they just said, you can do this when you want, if you want piano lessons, then just let us know. And I didn't, and my first instrument was clarinet, but then very soon after I started the clarinet at the school band, then I was like, okay, yeah, now I want to learn about piano. And that was, I think I was 11 or 12 then when I started basically both of those instruments. But it's interesting, I'm just connecting. Does anybody have a similar experience out there? Watching did you learn from a parent, or did you watch a parent? Do you have any of that modeled, I'm trying to think. A lot of the friends that I know, I just know a lot of musicians who have parents who are professional musicians, and it sure does seem to help, to have all that model. Like this one bass player, Julian, that I play with in New York, I don't think he started playing any music until like way later, like late teenager, I think is when he picked up, and he's an upright bass player. But he said his dad was a big band, was an alto saxophone player, played in a lot of big bands, and I think played with kind of famous, maybe Ray Charles, some famous touring acts and stuff. So he grew up around it, and I imagine that makes a big difference. But it's cool to talk about seeing your parent learn also, is like that's cool.
Kids are little, 2, 3, 4 years old. They see their parent doing something, they want to do it.
Yeah.
And it also gets the parents that maybe don't consider themselves musical.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
To be like, wow, I can be a musician. It's not something you can only start when you're 2 or 3. We all have music in us, and that's that nature versus nurture. It's like
that's very
put
cool.
love and beauty into the world and connect people with it, as opposed to pulling them away from it. And we all have this intrinsic connection with music.
I think that's a strong reason why too, not just like for Suzuki, but outside of that context, but why you see a lot of all-time great musicians come from musical families, right?
Little nepo babies.
But it's not a nepo baby if you have the skills.
Right.
That's the thing. And of course the nepo babies have the skills because they're around it their whole lives. Like Wynton and Branford and the whole Marsalis brothers, they're amazing because their dad is Ellis Marsalis. Like there's music happening all around. They've got a literal expert on the music that they're learning in the house with them, who's, I'm assuming, seemed like from all accounts a very loving, supportive father who was there to help nurture with love the music, and then they're just around it. You're just enveloped in it. And it happens time and time again. Jacob Collier's mother and grandfather, both professional musicians, violinists and composers and conductors, and like he's got that around. Like it makes sense that that's where these great musicians would come from.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll leave it to everybody to kind of have their own opinion on where it falls on the nature versus nurture. But I think what you're describing there would be more on the side of nurturing, in that like you're Jacob Collier is not this amazing musician because of his genetic, or at least not primarily because of his genetic makeup
Yeah.
from his parents, but it's because he was around great music from a very young age. And that's something that the Suzuki method is big on. They never say like it's, you're too late after this age or whatever, but it's also like humans do have the ability to connect with music as a language and actually learn it and excel at a very young age.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a revolutionary thing when they started.
And like that's when we had Matt Schreiber on this stream talking about I think it was Serbian Lautari music, but he was telling us about the cultures of musicians, and it's very down the family tree and in amongst the community. And there are families that are musicians, and it's generations and generations.
Started doing that, and I remember Suzuki brought these tour groups over, I think in the like early 70s, maybe late 60s.
And even that's something that gets brought up a lot in listening to the Partimento, the Italian 1700 stuff, is they talk a lot about how there were these like musician factories for kids. They were 9 or 10 year schools where the young people would come as kids, and they'd live there and they'd study 6 days a week from sun up to sundown, and they'd start by learning by ear. They would get stuff played to them or sung to them, and they would have to sing it back and memorize the little phrases, commonalities. In jazz we would call that vocabulary or licks or something, and then they'd learn to combine those, so to improvise, like, okay, well, of the things that you've been taught or whatever, if I sing bum bum bum, what could you sing over the top of that? And I'm exactly copying an example I've said. It was mi, re, do. Could go with bum, bum, bum. So it's a good melody, and it harmonically it fits. And that just gets more and more complex. But that is also a big. There's a lot of information about how the tradition of university learning that we have, especially for Western harmony, classical and Baroque era of Western harmony, even romantic, but mostly classical and romantic, is a really watered down version of the way it used to be taught. And that's because of the birth of like the university system in, I think, the 1800s, and the middle class to go there. And so you had middle class musicians, or musicians that weren't brought up as children in this church supported educational, what do you call it, boarding school, to learn how to be professional musicians. So you've got these, I don't know what age people were, and I'm just repeating stuff I've heard on the podcasts, but whatever age people were in the 1800s when they went to college, and they don't have all those years of training. So it's like, well, shoot, like you can't cram that 10 years as a child 6 days a week into 4 years of college as a young adult. So what do? So let's make a system that can sort of educate these people about, and this is something that the guy Yurdigan says, that he's like that, I think it's him, or Ijzerman, Job. Anyway, these professors kind of blend together in my head, but they talk about how they were taught about the music. They weren't taught the music. And what I think he's saying is that we're taught to label the music and to understand it, to label, like in the Bach chorale, like this is the root, and then that's that voice, and then I can learn this system for like naming the chord and intellectually understanding it, but I don't have the actual experience and skill set to hear all this stuff, to hear all these parts, and especially to construct it improvisationally or through editing and through composing, right? Construct it through improvising or composing, two different ways of going about the same thing, and and that's a major lost skill set. So if we're just interpreting music on a page, and we don't have the approach to approach it from the perspective of somebody that can improvise on it, I think we're missing out on a lot. And it's we can see that this is a skill set that is only sort of recently lost, I think, which is interesting. Relatively so. Okay, back to this interview.
These groups of really young Japanese kids, I mean, really young, playing like Bach concertos and this stuff, and everybody was like, oh my God, they're geniuses, or their genetic makeup is, they're smart. And it was like, no, like whenever he explained it, and he lays out in the book, this is like, no, we just expose them to this.
Yeah.
There's no, genetic.
And I would say that, the only missing thing is to connect the parts of the music to learning by ear, and then get the musicians to do things creatively. And maybe the Suzuki system does that. I don't know.
Like connection between German and Japanese in this case, if that's the music that they're playing or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, this is beautiful music that if kids are exposed to, they're connected with, and they're connected through their parents because they're so young,
Yeah.
through that love and that appreciation of it, that they can develop at a very young age and do things that they thought weren't possible up to them. Because up to then it'd be like, oh yeah, Mozart was a genius, he's 2 years old, he's writing all this stuff, but that's an outlier.
Yeah.
What this method proves.
It is an outlier, but okay, at 2 years old, yeah, that's pure genius. But he was also surrounded, like his teacher was Salieri, which was the greatest teacher in Western Europe for music, and he studied, he did study with very, very famous, important people. Mozart did, even as a child.
Proves is that like music is for everybody.
And Mozart's
there's
dad, I think, was a professional
democratization.
musician.
I hate using
think
that word because it's bullshit usually, but it really is
It
in
is.
terms of like Suzuki changed the game with that in terms of like what you can learn, who can do it. It's for everybody, and I think that there's probably a component of Japanese culture, especially. I mean, everything's become more homogenous around the world. Is much more connected than it was there, than it was at that time when he was coming up. So the fact that you can take something that's not a part of their culture necessarily, Western European classical music, whatever you call it, and then connect that with another culture with little kids that are like, they don't know any kind of culture. They just, know what they're given. But
Yeah.
when you give it to them at a high level,
Yeah.
in a peaceful, joyful, loving environment, that great things can happen.
Yeah. In regards to nurture versus nature, I think a lot of the consensus, if there is a consensus right now, is that that's probably not even a real thing, and it's almost impossible to parse out the difference between that. If you think about, there's been studies recently that are very interesting where it's like, even when children are, before they're born, when they're in their mother's womb or whatever, like if the mother is stressed out, she's releasing cortisol, raising their cortisol levels, and they have a higher fight or flight response as they're born. Like when they're born with like basically their mother's experiences like onto them, and then they're likely to do not have as good of grades, and but that idea of there's like this genetic component, and then there's your environmental component. It's almost impossible to separate it out because they're kind of the same. They're so interconnected. You can't take the genetics out of the environment, and you can't take the environment out of the genetics. Like, of course, you need both. Like you need to be Jacob Collier or Wynton Marsalis, you need a certain level of intelligence, both for like how things sound and your general intelligence of how you structure things.
Right.
And then you need a mom like Susie Collier or a dad like Ellis Marsalis who can nurture that.
And then you need luck and the stars aligning
and
and
then
everything.
you need all kinds of stuff to happen.
Yeah, it's not even just nature and nurture.
I don't know, but
other parts.
Yeah.
okay, but so what they haven't stated here, I don't really know. I should give them more of the benefit of the doubt, but the competent musician is extremely relative. The musicians themselves' view of them, their competency is extremely relative, and an outsider's view of competence is extremely relative. I don't know. I just think it doesn't get us anywhere to talk about how to create a great musician. It's just like, what? That's not the secret ingredient. The secret ingredient is for the musician themselves to find a way to, make it feel connected to themselves, and to find a way to fire the dopamines that make us want to keep going, which is really hard, because once we learn that we should be critical of our efforts, it's really hard to be the right kind of critical, and so it can take away a lot of the fun. And that's a real secret, and that's really what it's about. Are we playing for ourselves, and do we have the right relationship with the music? That's it. Because there's so many different kinds of music that if you're just playing yourself, that's all you got to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only way would be like if you took two genetically identical twins and separated them at birth. But like you say, even before they're born, they're making the connection, and so even that wouldn't, but remove them and put them in a totally different situation, but then keep everything else exactly the same.
There's a ton of twins experiments, and genetics do matter. Genetics do matter in that sense, but also environment has a huge part of it. So
and
I
you know
love
what
that
I think
idea.
is important too is like with this, like in terms of
Okay. That's enough of that. Now they're kind of getting into like, I don't know, speculation and things that, like, I do that, but that's my stream. So, okay. So, let's listen to some more stuff. What else do I have here? Ooh, it's really hard to see the computer screen right now. We got full sun going on. Any requests from the live stream viewers? Suggestions, requests? Oh yeah, it's really hard to see anything here. Okay, yeah, let's check out. Oh wait, where is it? Right here. Okay, here's Marcello Caldi from Brazil.
Pois era noite de São João, havia balões no ar, trote baião no salão, e no terreiro o teu olhar, que incendiou meu coração.
That was short. Okay. Fun. Well, half cadence. Oh. Okay. Is this a bandoneon playing a choro tune? That's cool. I don't. Paolo Rosso. He's one of the prolific. There's another guy. The two of them. Prolific Italians that put out a lot of great bandoneon stuff on YouTube. Let's check this one out. There's the melody. Beautiful. Yeah. So much like a voice. Really expressive. the great Frank Petrilli, playing The Nearness of You. With the band Strata Swing.
Excites me. That thrills and delights me. Oh, no. It's just the nearness of you.
So like that thing that I was showing when I was doing the chord exercise, the rule of the octave on the accordion, like just trying to play really, really warm. That's what Frank can do. And it's his touch, and it's his left arm. Look how he uses his body. You know, it's like it's there. It's connected to the music he's making.
It's just the nearness of you. You're in my arms,
So cool.
and I feel
Wow.
you so close to me.
His voicings with the bass together sound so good.
Oh,
Wow. Wow, Frank.
come true.
Yeah.
I need to enchant me. If you could only grant me the right to hold you ever so tight.
Yeah. Nice, man. Getting a little bluesy now. Is the vocalist going to come back on the bridge, which would be a very common thing to do? Minor 4, back to the 1. Yes, she is.
You're in my arms.
That's such a cool little
And
pedal.
I feel you so close, so close to me. All my wildest dreams, they do come true. I need the soft lights to enchant me. If you could only grant me the right to hold you ever so tight.
Little 3/6 tag.
And to feel in the night, feel in the night.
What a touch, man.
Nearness of you.
forbidden day. We're not gonna hear another one. Okay, yeah, great. So nice. I'm out here just like a lizard in the sun. Really enjoying it. Okay. Jeff Taylor, who's I'm pretty sure is a Nashville like keyboard player and accordionist. He has this latest video, which is the him fooling around with this effects pedal.
Pod Express plus accordion.
That was pretty fun. Maybe it's just a reverb box. There's a little like phasing going on in there or something. Oh, now it's like overdriven. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Haha, yeah. That's fun. Some more distortion. It's cool. Oh, Irritator, I see your cool. Alright, I'm consulting the chat now. Cool. Gary Later 18 says, I've been working on this tune for years. You must be talking about Frank Petrilli. I didn't see these come in. And then Irritator, which I love that name. Because it's a pun. It's EAR. Anyway, the Argentine Chengo Spasiuk. Yeah, let's go out with some Chengo Spasiuk. Let's see. Here we go. Oh yeah, let's see what's the most recent video we got here. Let's check. Let's see. Oh, they're all really short. All right, let's check this one out. Is that gonna play? Here we go. I'll be right back. Super epic. Let's find one where we can see him playing. Sorry, you guys. Cool. Nope. Dang. Alright, we might just need to like look at not his channel. Okay. Two months ago. Alright, let's check this one out.
Tango, Espasiuk.
Spasiuk. There we go. Cool. I love it. He's down there so low with like whatever, all his reeds on or something. How about all those major scales? Uplifting sound. I'll kind of use that transition as my time to say goodbye. Can you guys believe it? It's been 2 hours already. How cool. So there will be one more live from California next week. I just don't know where I'm going to be yet. Will I be in Bakersfield? Will I be here? in the Mojave Desert of Southern California. I just don't know. But you're welcome, Birdie Wooster. Thanks everybody for checking it out. A little bit more relaxed. Yeah, today was part 4, so there'll be part 5. Yeah, cool. And take a look at the website soon, and I'll have signups for the next group class I'm doing. We just finished the 12-bar blues group class on Monday, and not this Monday, but the next Monday I'm going to start up another group class. And it's going to be on minor blues, and I'm going to have 2 levels. So I don't have it for sign up yet. I don't really have anything on the website about it yet, but that's going to be my probably tonight project. So just take a look. And yeah, thanks for joining me. Everybody, enjoy your life, enjoy your music, relax, and find the groove.